you identified with the wealth that you accumulate or you lose, then that is your identity. So when I started to eliminate that labeling within myself that I had to have money to be successful. And I still do it every day. I work on it because I have my own personal body issues and I have my own personal BS that comes in, the little negative Nancy in there, right? But it's all about being in the present now, in the moment, and being happy now with what I have. Again, I want more. I'm not going to stay here, but I'm really focusing on, I'm so thankful and grateful that I have a body that works. Everything works in it. I can taste and I can see, and I'm so happy with who I am now.
In this world that's filled with so much noise and information, how do we really stand out and be who we were really meant to be? In this podcast, we focus on injecting you with positivity, optimism, and strategies, all centered around helping you be who you were always meant to be in business and life. Be inspired to show up in your own skin to learn strategies, habits, and skills from others as we share our own life journeys and stories. There's no other you, and you know yourself better than anyone else. So be prepared to take away habitual tidbits, tactics that will encourage you to pursue and live your life, not the one others want you to live. Welcome to Stand Out Be You, where you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be you. Welcome back. I'm Tequila Dodard, your host of Stand Out Be You. You're listening to another episode where I bring to you the stories of solopreneurs and small business owners. I'm quite excited to be here with you today with another solopreneur. As you know, Stand Out Be You is about capturing the story of you, and I have with us here today Karita Angel, but if you're Spanish, it's Karita Angel. What I loved about this episode with Karita is when you hear her story, you will hear how resilient we can be as humans. You'll hear how Karita was living what she thought was her good life until she had to give it all up. Can you imagine feeling like you have accomplished having your dream business and life, then losing it all? Well, for Karita, instead of stopping, she turned her failures into opportunities and is now building her new business venture as a single mom with her son. Get ready to be inspired. Before we take a listen, have you joined the Stand Out Be You community where all the Stand Out Be You guests are collaborating and helping others in business and life? I'm in there too. Go to tequiladodard.com/community to join us. Okay, Karita, welcome to Stand Out Be You. Tell us a little bit more about you and what you do.
Hi, Tequila. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's me and my dog today. We're just out and about. Where to start? I have been an entrepreneur most of my life. A lot of failures, a lot of interesting experiences. I look at failures, honestly, as learning experiences. So my latest venture learning experience was I was in Costa Rica for a few years, and it was a dream. It was all on my vision board. I manifested going down. And I thought that that was my purpose and my destiny in the time. So I created a business down there, a beverage company of kombucha. For those who don't know, it's a fermented sweet tea. And it's a health beverage. So my company, I was growing it very fast. I had business partners, but 95% of the work I did. And I'm a single mom, raising my child. I was trying to homeschool him and build this company empire. So needless to say, I made poor decisions in my personal life and my business life and, chose some very interesting people to work with. And I had to literally sign it over to my partners and walk away with nothing. So there's a lot more to the story, of course, but I don't need to go into that. And it was literally one of the hardest things I did because I gave up my dreams, gave up my purpose, gave up my vision, and came back to Canada with nothing. Zero, like literally the clothes on my back. This was mid last year. So after I got back, it took me a few months of mourning because I was lost. I lost everything. And it was very challenging because I felt literally like, who was I? I had to find my new purpose, find my new passions. And when I started to truly go down into myself and question what truly were my passions, I never really accepted my whole adult life. What are my passions? But when I went back, it was like 11/22, the 22nd of November last year, when I truly accepted what my inner self was telling me about my passions. And that is, I love helping people. I love empowering people. I love inspiring people. And I really want to make the world a better place. So when I finally accepted that aspect of it, I started to manifest things coming into my life to help me take that journey, right? So long story short, I went through a couple jobs because, I had to support myself, literally starting from zero. I manifested recently a new position that gives me abundant money working part-time, helping someone who is a person that needs my love and my help, making a lovely amount of cash flow while I'm focusing on the venture of Crazy with KZ, which is my venture with my son based on empowering people, helping people, and having a healthy lifestyle, mentally and physically. So that's where I'm at in the moment.
I love it. And I love, Karita, that you spoke about the mistakes and the trials and the tribulations and all those things that you went through, which is normal. We don't realize that we're not the only ones that are going through these things that are sabotaging ourselves all the time. And I love that you basically took that as an opportunity to really dive deeper within yourself. And you brought up the word manifesting, and this is really big right now. And I've had a couple of coaches here on the Stand Out BU podcast. What kind of steps did you do in order to basically even consider manifesting? I mean, how did you get there?
Well, I started doing a lot of more self-awareness quite a few years ago. And you learn a lot, but you get an overflow of knowledge in your brain. So sometimes you don't put into action what you learn. So one of the main things is, first of all, accepting where you are in the moment and appreciating every little thing that you have. I'm not driving the car of my dreams, but I'm driving a car and my car is functioning. So even though I don't have the car of my dreams, I still have transportation. It's still running and it keeps me warm in this lovely cold weather that we're having. So the first and most important lesson and action is A, taking action, and B, is focusing on the little things and being abundance of gratitude, and self-love. So it's simple, but it's not easy. It's a simple process of loving yourself and having gratitude, but it's not easy because all of those negative little past patterns come in and try to block you. And that's the self-sabotage part. So when it comes to manifesting things, it's, first of all, you have to make a decision. You have to know more or less where you're going, right? Because a lot of us are in la la land dreaming about, one day when I'd like to live on the beach and blah, 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 right? But if we don't have a specific set point, like a destination, how are we going to get there if we don't know where we're going? So when I first made that destination, it's like, I want to go this direction. This is what I want to do. And when I knew that that's the direction I wanted to go, okay, well, then the roads started to come in, the pathways started to come in that are helping me go to that direction because I believe that I will get there. I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I heard was having that self-love. And then the other thing is just being grateful for what you have. And then the third thing I heard was being aware. So many times today we lose awareness because we have so much information that's thrown at us. And especially with social media today, we can completely become so much more aware of everyone else's life that we lose sight of our own life. So I love that you mentioned those particular things. And what's so interesting about your story is that you gave up something that you loved before. It was your passion. And you were even six figures with this organization or this company before, or headed that direction. Yeah. You walked away from all of that And I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, your happiest stage right now, because now you're planning on working with your son because you've got this great work that you've manifested that allows you to be able to actually work with your son. Tell us a little bit more about this new venture.
Yeah. So one of the biggest wake up calls I had when I was working, ridiculous amount of hours, and my son was suffering, because one of my goals when I moved to Costa Rica was to homeschool him and have a better relationship. But I lost sight of that. So when I lost everything and I had to make a decision of, do I continue in Costa Rica and try and rebuild it, or do I come back to Canada and try to solidify my relationship with my 10-year-old son, right? And I chose my son because I had to lose that, be a little more selfless than selfish. So with my son, when I made that decision, I kept thinking about ideas of how can I be more part of my son's life? How can I empower him to be out of the box thinker? Because, I've always tried to train him to do that, to be more out of the box. But how can I be a part of that? Because he wants to truly be a YouTuber. But he's thinking, I want to do like mine, whatever, craft, videos, and those ridiculous things. And I'm like, well, that's not going to make the world a better place, right? So then after I had realized my passion, that I truly want to help people, I bought a company here in Canada, registered my little company, because you start somewhere, right? I didn't know what I was doing. So I called it KZ Marketing, because my son is Zeke and I'm Karita, so KZ, right? So then I bought that company, and I told my friend who we're in a health venture with, and he comes up to me one night. He's like, hey, I thought of this getting crazy with KZ, all with K's. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that just feels perfect. I bought the domain that night, Crazy with KZ. And then I decided, okay, well, what's next, right? So the things started to fall into place. I had no idea what I was doing. I still kind of don't have an idea what I'm doing, but I know where we're going, right? So it's a learning process as we go. And with that, my son and I are able to spend a little more time together creating videos or doing exercise things. And even on the side, we don't see it all on the video, but I've really noticed a huge change with my son and I, with our emotional reactions to each other, and I have more patience with him, and et cetera, et cetera. So
it's great, Karita, you're doing this, because one thing is that where we are in this information age, and with social media and everything that's out here, our kids, they're going to do it anyway. And what's great is that you're doing it along with him, and you're able to actually guide him in a way that you're helping him, which actually allows him to basically respect more of what you have to say about this world, because you're doing it together. And at 10 years old, this is definitely a time where they start maybe not trying to listen to their parents. But this is really a good venture that you're doing, that you're taking this on with your son. He's able to see what you are about. You're able to see more about what's going on with him on the inside, and him share more with you, all as it unfolds for all of us to see. And one of the things that you did mention, you said, I don't know everything, and I don't know, what all is going to happen. And I think that's all with social media. Sometimes just like trial and error, you're doing different things. But that's the thing of a solopreneur that I love, is that you are basically going after your passion and trying to make your passion happen and share it with others. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit more of where you see this going and how you can help others, because you mentioned that your son, you wanted to do all this, but you're like, that's not really helping anyone. So how do you and your son plan to help others?
Well, there's a few different aspects of how we want to help others, right? With my son and I, first of all, one of the messages that I want to create is that it's not all about the money. Because one of my directions in life, most of my life, I've been all about the money, looking for the money. And that served me not at all, right? So one of the messages for me, very important, is that when you follow the passion, you can create an abundance of whatever, right? And so it's just following your heart and not the dollar signs, which is one lesson.
Ah, you can say that again. You can say that again. Because I tell you, I did that. I was six figures and I made money and and before my husband, I said I was living single girl, fabulous lifestyle. And I had great things, but I am at my happiest moment now today when I'm with my family and we are living comfortably and we're living the way that we want to live and traveling to the places that we want to travel and not going after those big, what you see out there. Oh, go after the money, go after the money, go after your happiness.
Yes.
Let's change this. Go after your happiness. How are you getting rich in happiness?
That's a huge thing because I had this programming pattern built into me as a child that financial success equals happiness. And then you identified with the wealth that you accumulate or you lose, then that is your identity, right? Because I connected the two and I could not, for the life of me, separate my financial success with my personal happiness. So when I started to eliminate that labeling within myself that I had to have money to be successful. And I still do it every day. I work on it because I have my own personal body issues and I have my own personal BS that comes in, the little negative Nancy in there, right? But it's all about being in the present now, in the moment, and being happy now with what I have. And again, I want more. I'm not going to stay here, but I'm really focusing on, I'm so thankful and grateful that I have a body that works. It may not be the shape that I would like to have, but I have it and everything works in it. I'm so thankful that all my bodily functions work and I can taste and I can see, and I'm so happy with who I am now. And by continuing to do, like affirmations and facing your fears, because that's the thing. It's like, I gotta look in the mirror and say, I love you. And that's hard, looking in your eyeballs and saying, I love you. That's where it all stems from. And with that, change comes with my son. Because the more I love me and the more and I'm happy and calm and peace and successful in the moment, the more my son sees that and reflects that. And one of my really good friend, Matt, he's awesome. He's gone through his own personal struggles and learned a lot. And he said to me one day, he's like, Karita, you're successfully fat. And I'm like, I am successfully fat with a PH, baby, so it's all owning it. I'm successfully fat in the moment. And when I get successfully skinny or slim, I'll be that when I get there. But now this is what I am now. So that's one of the biggest lessons that it's taken me 39 years to figure it out. And yes, I'm 39.
Yeah. Be successful where you are right now in this moment by enjoying the moments that you're in right now.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So Karita, if you were sitting in a room and you had other women just as you, single moms, what type of advice would you give them right now? Because they are in the moment where they want change. They want to have that deeper connection with their child or their children. They want a different type of life than what they have right now, maybe. What kind of advice would you give to them?
From my personal experience, first of all, it's just be present in the moment. Be thankful. Focus on gratitude. Focus on love. Be thankful and grateful that you have the most beautiful children in the world, because all of us moms, we know our babies are the most beautiful things in the world. So focus on the love you have for your child and the love you have for yourself or children. And then eliminate the I'm broke mentality, because I recently stopped that and I just been able to realize it's like, I'm not thinking I can't afford that anymore. I'm not thinking I'm broke, because those words that we think and allow ourselves to say about ourselves, the personal negativity is the worst thing that you can do to yourself. So as a single mom with no financial backing, with doing it all myself, I have to just be thankful and grateful for the money that's coming in, and fake it till you make it kind of thing. It's like, I know I'm getting an abundance of money. It's not here yet, but I know it is coming and I'm waiting for it. And it's all of the law of attraction. So main steps is loving yourself in the moment, being happy in the moment, and don't allow the fear of financial scarcity stop you from taking an opportunity or a chance, because our wealth and our success is beyond that little screen called fear. Things are out of our peripheral vision. You know, there's things that come in. You're like, oh my God, I never would have thought that would come in, because we would only see with blinders. So when you take off the blinders and allow opportunities to come in, allow love, allow abundance, and allow the law of allowing, the law of receiving. So the main things: love yourself, love your present moment, love your situation, and believe that things are going to get better.
Great. And how would individuals go about getting in touch with you if they want to hear more about Karita and what you have to offer?
Oh, well, thank you. I have a Facebook, Crazy with KZ, and it's, I'm Canadian, so we actually, our Z is Z, so Z is Z-E-E. It's like Canadian in me.
Yeah.
So it's Crazy with KZ, crazywithkz.com, or it's Karita, Karita. I have two Facebook pages, and they're public pages, and you can like me and message me, and I can text or whatever my website. But I'm also offering free coaching sessions to people, one-on-one sessions, which I've been given so many opportunities in coaching sessions to talk. And what I've found is some people just want to be heard. So I've offered that, you know, and I give that in my spare time to give a half an hour, 45-minute free coaching session with people to help them be heard and maybe help them find a solution within themselves.
Awesome. And listeners, I will link all of that in the show notes. And you also can find Karita inside of our Standout BU community as well. So Karita, this next part of the episode, I like to get into a little bit more of what I call your personality.
Okay.
So it's called personality questions. So this first one is, what's the furthest place that you've traveled to from your birthplace?
Furthest place. Well, I'd have to check the map. That's between Australia and I've been to South Korea for almost a year, Australia for 4 months. I literally have to look at the map because I've never calculated it. Singapore, Japan, and Hong Kong I've flown in and out of. So Asia.
I think that you're correct because I'm closest to Australia and on this side of the world. So definitely from Canada all the way over here, that would be your furthest.
Okay. All right.
So this next one, I love this question, and I ask all guests this, but this is great because you do have a 10-year-old. If you could go back and speak to your 10-year-old self, what would you tell yourself about life?
I would say don't care what other people think, because self-doubt, and I'm working on that with my son, a lot of the time stems from hearing other people's BS and other people's opinions. So be strong within yourself. Don't give up. Or let me change that. Continue forward, because you don't want that negative connotation. And just believe in yourself and love yourself. It's all about self-love.
It is. If you're able to really love yourself so much, you're able to give so much more love to other individuals and everyone around you.
Yeah.
The next one is fun. If you could be any animal in the world, what animal would you be and why?
Okay, so that is a really good question, simply because I did a survey to friends and people who've known me for a long time to ask them what animal they thought I was. And it was completely different of what I thought maybe I should have been. But it all came back either a tiger or a panther. And I started to analyze it. I'm like, yes. And why? Because I'm ferocious. I am loving. I am, what's that word that was used? Where you don't give up. Sometimes I think in Spanish. I'm sorry. So
yes, it's okay. You could tell me in Spanish too. We have Spanish listeners, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's all about a large feline animal, a large feline cat, a lion, a tiger, or a panther. And I like the panther because it's black and in the night, and
Yeah, I love it. So the next one is your name, because I think the name is so important. What is the meaning or the story behind your name?
So I was given the name Kara. That's my birth name. So when I was 12 years old, my parents bought a sailboat and we went sailing in the Caribbean for 10 months, and we stayed 4 months in Mexico. And from the moment I arrived on the shores of Mexico, I felt home. And my friends in Mexico, everything is Ita, con cariño. And so they're like, we don't like Cara. Cara is a little face or expensive, so we'll call you Karita. So from the moment I was 12, it resonated with me. But it wasn't until my early 30s that I truly, I haven't changed it legally, but I said, I am Karita. That is who I am. That is me. I feel it. That resonates with me. So that's why I'm Karita.
I know. I love it. And I was saying it more of the American way. We lived in Spain for 4 years. So it is Karita. You would say it with a ita on it. Yes, I love it. I love it. So let's end with some parting words for our listeners, Karita, because we've enjoyed having you here on the show. So some final words. What would you tell our listeners that are listening here to you today?
Well, first and foremost, love yourself and forget about the past crap, because honestly, dragging on the past baggage will just continue to drag on into misery. Second of all, truly find your passion. Don't worry about the dollar figure. Don't worry about how, because the how is one of the worst words in the English language. Focus on your passion and find the direction that you want to go. Find the destination and then allow the pathway to come. Don't worry about the how. And last and most important is take action. Don't sit around dreaming and thinking about when I will have money to do this and all that crap. Take the steps. The baby steps are counting, because you cannot climb the Himalayas in one day. It is a journey. It is a step-by-step process. And allow yourself to love the moment that you're in and be grateful and thankful for the little things, especially, when you got this cute little dog right beside you. You just got to love it and be thankful that she's in your life. And the car that is not my dream car, but I'm so thankful and grateful. So that's it.
Yeah. Don't focus on the how. And my word of the year, focus on the outcome and just go.
Do it.
Karita, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here with us today on the show. And we look forward to hearing what's going to happen on your journey as you continue, and to hear from both you and your son. So we thank you so much for being here with us today. And until next time, listeners, remember to stand out, be you, and that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you.
That's right.
Thanks, Karita.
Thank you. Ciao.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you would like to hear and learn more from our guests, be sure to come visit them all inside the Faces of Collaboration community. If you are craving connections and want to collaborate in order to grow professionally and grow your business, then I would love to have you be a part of the Standout BU group, where we role play, we give webinars, we share ideas that help to increase your presence in business and life. Oh, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for another episode of me, Tequila.